Ah, Stirling Bridge. Now there's a tale that could singe the whiskers off a Highland cow. If you think medieval warfare was all gallant duels and dramatic speeches, well, you're not entirely wrong. But let me, King Arthur, yes, the sword in the stone chap, walk you through one of the most hilariously brilliant and blood-soaked chess games in Scottish history. And no, I didn't attend the battle personally. I was busy being very dead or very legendary, depending on who you ask. But I've had time to review the tapes, scrolls. So here's the deal. It's 1297 and Scotland is in chaos as usual. The English, under the charmingly oppressive rule of Edward I, also known as Longshanks, because of his unusually long legs and even longer appetite for conquest, had been stomping around Scotland like a spoiled noble at a feast. But then comes a man who makes Braveheart look like a bedtime story, William Wallace. Yes, the face of rebellion, the beard of vengeance, and the tactical brain of a flaming fox in a henhouse. Now, if you're enjoying this reenactment of medieval mayhem, do give that like button a royal tap and summon the power of subscription. Leave a comment, too. Perhaps what you would have done if faced with thousands of angry Englishmen and one rickety bridge. But I digress. Back to the battle. The English, led by the ever-so-proud John de Warenne, Earl of Surrey, had a force of over 5,000 men, including knights who thought armor made them invincible and egos the size of their horses. They marched to Stirling, expecting to squash the rebellion like a bug under a boot. But Wallace, along with Andrew Moray, the unsung hero who absolutely deserves more screen time, had other plans. Here's where it gets juicy. Stirling Bridge wasn't just a scenic river crossing, it was a death funnel. Picture a narrow, rickety wooden bridge barely wide enough for two horses to pass side by side. Perfect place for a trap, if you ask a Scotsman with a grudge and a plan. Wallace and Moray stationed their men on high ground, waiting. The English, full of confidence and roast meat, began to cross, and cross, and cross, in single file, like lambs to the slaughter. Or, in this case, heavily armored ducks waddling into a thresher. When about half of the English forces had crossed, enough to be isolated, not enough to be useful, Wallace gave the signal. The Scots charged, cutting off the bridge and turning the English knights into medieval piñatas. The English couldn't retreat, couldn't reinforce, and absolutely couldn't have believed they'd just been outsmarted by a bunch of angry Scots in linen skirts. It was chaos. Horses trampling men, armor sinking in mud, English nobles screaming Latin prayers to the heavens. The bridge itself reportedly collapsed under the pressure at some point, and I'd like to imagine the ghost of that bridge still laughing somewhere in the mist of the Highlands. By the end of it, the English lost around 3,000 men. The Scots? Just a few hundred, a tactical slaughterhouse dressed as a national triumph. What makes this battle more than just a military win is what it sparked. Stirling wasn't just a defeat for England, it was a giant, sword-shaped exclamation mark saying, "We're not going quietly." Wallace became a symbol, a myth in the making. And all it took was some high ground, a narrow bridge, and a stunning lack of English common sense. Now, I know what you're thinking. Arthur, why do we still care? Well, dear viewer, Stirling Bridge is a masterclass in asymmetric warfare. It's the underdog's handbook, the rebel's gospel. And if you ever find yourself leading a rebellion, may I suggest looking for a narrow bridge before charging headfirst into doom? So, let me know in the comments, if you were Wallace, would you have waited? Or do you think you'd be charging in with bagpipes blazing? And if you enjoyed this royal breakdown of chaos, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon like it's an English noble crossing the River Forth. Until next time, this has been King Arthur, your undead battlefield correspondent. Long live strategy, long live the underdog. And for heaven's sake, never underestimate a Scotsman with a plan.